Perfect.
Okay, we're back in the car, and we're going to talk up to Kent Rathwell. He drove 50% of the time, approximately, on the Mad Dash across Canada on Marianne's Electric Drive 2.0. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, all right, for more videos, and give me a like. That would be great. Anyway, so Kent, this is the first time you've driven an Audi e-tron, or any Audi that's fully electric. What are your thoughts on your experience?
Audi nailed it. They waited until they had something terrific, and they do. It's really a tremendous car on a lot of fronts. I can't really say enough about it. And I've driven a lot of electric vehicles for over a decade now, and they've really nailed it.
What were the things about the Audi that made a difference in the speed of our trip?
Well, I'll start with the paddle shifters. Now, that didn't really increase the speed so much, but it did help on the regen side. So hence you charge less, right, at charging stations. And so the paddles were really comfortable. One tap on the left for regen and one tap for more aggressive regen. And then on the other side, it was one tap to release it, the first tap, and then the second tap to release the full regen. I'd say, it's one of the few things that Audi could actually tweak, is actually have a third level, a very aggressive level of regen.
Right, I totally agree on that.
But they're both very comfortable, and they don't get in your way, and you're not reaching for them.
Yeah.
So moving down, we have the cruise control was really nice.
The adaptive
cruise control, so where you set it and it will keep you a certain distance from the other vehicles ahead of you. And I know that this is common in other vehicles, but it was really nice because it would ramp up at whatever speed you wanted it to ramp up. And if that vehicle ahead of you was gearing up or moving away too fast, then you wouldn't follow that vehicle up to 200 kilometers an hour. It would release wherever you set it. So that was really good. And then the side lane assist. To notify you if you're getting a little bit too close or have been over there a bit too much. It really does simplify things.
But also, the key thing there is the safety feature.
Totally.
The fact that if you're in our trip, we were getting tired at times, and at night it was a great thing to put on, because if you were getting a little bit sleepy, the car would correct itself and it would shake the steering wheel. Right. And if you did it too many times, it would alert you with a big sound saying pay attention. And we never get to the point where the seatbelt would going boom boom like 3 times, which did happen to me once 2 years ago.
Right. Okay.
And and the other thing is, knowing that safety feature existed allowed you and me to sleep better when we were sleeping.
Yeah,
and
totally.
and to know that that safety feature existed made it a lot more reassuring that we would be safe.
Agreed. Yeah, totally agree. With the adaptive cruise control and the pedal shifters, I guess you can almost really drive the car without your feet, which is pretty neat. I noticed that I don't really use cruise control much, so my foot's always ready to go. And
you mean on your Tesla?
On just all vehicles.
Yeah.
So on this trip here, I actually let the fingers do the work, and it was good. It actually did reduce the fatigue. So that definitely helped.
Right. And another thing that reduces fatigue is the heads-up display.
Yeah, the heads-up display is perfect, right? Because you're most of the time your eyes are dashing between the road and the gauges, and with the heads-up display, it shows you when you have to turn, your speed, your adaptive cruise control, where it's set at, and just the fact that you can actually drive it with your fingers is pretty cool. But it definitely did help on the fatigue side, compared to most other driving where you have to hold the pedal down for the whole distance. It's
And how about the one thing that you haven't really touched on yet? Was the speed that the car accepts charges. That's a really big factor in this trip.
Yeah, so the vehicle can accept 150 kilowatts, continuous up to about 80%, which is really, really tremendous. A lot of other car companies aren't there yet. And then after that, I think it went down to 90% of the speed.
Well, like for example, if we were accepting a 150 kilowatt charge, and at 80% it would start to drop.
And then
it would drop to maybe 120, then 100, and then like say 90, and then I think the lowest speed that it would have gotten when you got to like close to 98, 99, 100% was something like 75 kilowatt.
Right, so the original fast chargers came out at 50 kilowatts.
That's
so
right.
The neat thing about the e-tron is it pretty much fills up the whole battery pack. And at the very end, it gets down to where the old original, 50 kilowatt DC chargers were limited at. Compared to when they dropped down, they would really drop down near the bottom when the vehicle was getting near 100%.
Right.
So really, really amazing charging capabilities.
And what about the ride?
Smooth. The seats are amazing. We went over 4.5 days of constant sitting in a seat. We didn't really stop for anything else other than charging, and that just got our legs stretched a bit, and then we were straight back in the seats again. So the seats are tremendous. Audi's really done a really bang up job on that front.
Right.
So the all in all, I would give them probably,
What about the instrumentations? Did I go through red light?
Oh, the instrumentations really, no, it wasn't. Okay. Just somebody excited. The instrumentations, yeah, it's really clear. We haven't, the mapping side of things was good. Again, the map from the dash would go up the heads-up display.
Right.
It was all good, like really, really good. So out of 10, I'd do 9.5.
Great.
Which is really, it should be higher, but ultimately, I don't really want to give perfect to anybody, right? So, yeah. And then with Electrify Canada charging network, it worked really well. So that will only get better. The e-tron will only get better, and Audi's other vehicles will only get better, as will everyone else's vehicles.
Yeah, because this was their first vehicle.
Yeah.
And I'm going to interject that the range that's stated on everybody talks about range. The range was stated at 325 EPA, but during my regular driving that I normally do, on this trip that I started in Vancouver and worked my way across the prairies and then northern Ontario and then to the Toronto area and Quebec and Maritimes and then Newfoundland, I was getting usually 360, 370, 400 lots of times, and a few times even twice I got 450.
Right.
Yeah, which I was blown
That's
away.
Amazing. Yeah.
So when people talk about battery degradation, I would say negligible, if any. Yeah.
Right. We'll see in 8 years, which is what most vehicles' batteries are warranted to. So, but as with everything else in the Audi, I expect good things. Going to the charging network, again, Electrify Canada worked really well. The app worked well. Petro-Canada worked really well, and those chargers were mainly up to 150 kilowatts as well. Very simple, intuitive on the app side of things. Both of those charging networks you can basically charge for free on. With Audi, if you buy an Audi, you can charge on Electrify Canada for 2 years.
Volkswagen for 3.
Volkswagen for 3. Okay.
Yeah.
And then with Petro-Canada, if you have a certain RBC credit card tied to your Petrocoins card, you can charge up for free for almost another year. And,
till the end of April 2022.
Right.
Yeah. So not. That's.
I guess summer's over, isn't it?
It's like 6 months from now, I guess.
So it's really cool because for 10 years when we installed our charging network across the Trans-Canada and virtually every other highway in Canada, we've been able to travel for free. And Best Western Hotels put in a lot of chargers, and they actually sponsored this trip. So we have chargers at all other types of hotels and restaurants and municipalities, tourism locations. But Best Western stepped up, even though we weren't staying at Best Western or at any hotel on this trip because we were sleeping in the car while we were driving. They still stepped up, and they did that within a matter of hours of me asking them, and as they normally do. You know, Best Westerns has been the most EV friendly hotel company on the planet for almost 10 years, and to the point where no new Best Westerns get built without EV chargers in their parking lot. So and that's mandatory. So
okay, well, we're at your airport, and you're flying WestJet or Air Canada?
I'm flying WestJet tonight.
Okay, so WestJet is right here. We'll get you there. And again, thanks, Ken. Thanks, Kent, for doing this. This is awesome, and thank you for your review and all the time you spent with me and all the energy and effort, and you're a great driver too.
Wow, that's a good review.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, bye.